Hi, I'm Chris Coleman, President of Michigan Speech Coaches, here with Charlie Reinhardt, President-elect, and past President Doug Bavier. On behalf of Michigan Speech Coaches, we three want to welcome you to the 2019 competitive speech season.
MSCI strives to ensure directors, coaches, and students have a fun, educational, and competitive season.
We would like to invite you to the MSCI Spring Festival, Saturday, March 9th at Novi High School. The tournament includes the prestigious Novice State Tournament and an open invitational.
Before we do that, Chris and I are going to talk a little bit about the events at Mackinac this year.
Today, Charlie and I will be clarifying the various events that are going to be taking place at the tournament this year at Mackinac Island, May 17th through the 19th. So to begin, Charlie, can you tell us a little bit about what events will be offered this year at the spring tournament up at Mackinac?
Absolutely. There will be 9 speech activity events this year. They will include public forum debate, poetry slam, after dinner speaking, duo historical infomercial, impromptu movie quotes, duo poetry, dramatic interpretation character study, program oral interpretation, also known as POI, and mini multiple. So let's explore these and add some clarity for the community.
That's fantastic. Sounds like a lot of really good events, some that we've had in years past and some that we even had just last year.
Yep. One
of those that we had last year was Public Forum. We've been offering this for a few years now. Just as a refresher, can you go through and talk a little bit about Public Forum and what that entails for anybody who maybe has never done this before and might be interested in doing it?
Absolutely. So Public Forum is a team-style debate in which 2 teams consisting of 2 members will argue on either a pro or con position, depending on a coin flip, on a nationally prescribed resolution. Each member actively participates within the debate, taking turns debating the topic and arguing, as well as engaging in some cross-examination. Okay. Successful debaters must make persuasive and logical arguments in a manner that's accessible to a wide range of audiences.
Okay, very good. In terms of what they will be debating, there are resolutions. Can you give an example of what a resolution might be for those who have never done this before?
Absolutely. So the resolution at the state competition this year was, should the United States impose price control on pharmaceutical industries?
Okay, very good. Well, and that does a good job kind of summing up what Public Forum is. Why don't we talk now about these events that you mentioned earlier and give some descriptions on what these might entail for everybody who's interested in coming up this year. Let's talk a little bit about the idea of POI. POI is something that we did have last year, and I'm assuming that this doesn't really have anything to do with the Japanese translation of maybe, right?
Correct, but kudos on your Japanese.
Thank you very much. I try.
Yeah. POI is actually created around, it is a performance that's created around a central theme using selections from prose, poetry, and drama. It is designed to test a performer's ability to connect multiple types of literature into a single cohesive performance and to show the connections. Okay,
very good. So if I wanted to put together a piece addressing the challenges of hair loss, let's say I would choose something from poetry, from prose, and from drama, and that would address the theme of the crushing hardships of having to deal with male pattern baldness.
Absolutely, Chris. Mm-hmm. And I'm sure it would be a masterpiece.
Yeah. I feel like that joke worked better last year when I was sitting across from Doug.
Chris, I don't know what you're talking about.
That's nice, Charlie. Thank you. Yeah, okay. Let's move into something else. How about the lengthy name, Duo Historical Infomercial? This is an event we had 3 years ago. Can you clarify and reintroduce this to our audience again so they know what this is going to entail?
Yeah, it was run 3 years ago and run relatively successfully. It's basically a hybrid of duo interpretation and sales public address. Okay. So the content needs to be students' original work. The event must use 2 people with relatively equal contributions from both, and the delivery should feel like an infomercial.
Okay, so something like like Flex Feel or Flex Seal.
Flex Seal.
Flex Seal, something like that.
Yes, and
Gotcha.
the more creative, the better, really.
Okay.
The product being sold must have historical significance and should be sold in the environment that it was popularized. So let's think about the wheel being sold to a prehistoric audience, or microwave to the 1940s family.
Okay, very good. But you wouldn't like sell the wheel to somebody in the 21st century.
No, but it is good to know that the products being sold can still be used today. It's
Okay.
just not the environment that you'd be selling them in. And we want to discourage from using new technologies like the newest iPhone, or really even water bottles, because students will need source material to support the historic significance.
Okay, all right, very good. And you know, sales is a visual aids type of event. Are visual aids allowed up at Mackinac?
Yep, visuals are optional, but they need to be small enough to fit in a small backpack. Think of like a drawstring backpack, because there will be no easels and no extensive displays able to be set up. The students really need to focus on the creative writing and the delivery of this material to sell the product, and it really needs to have that infomercial feel. Except for that, all other MIFA rules of sale and DUO will apply.
Okay, so backpacks that are like excessively big, like you can't bring a hiking backpack or anything like that. Something just
No,
small
needs to be
and
a
practical.
small backpack. Yep, and I think a drawstring is a really good way to be thinking about it.
Okay, all right, very good.
And just one backpack per team.
Okay, one backpack per team. That's good to know. Works for me. Very good. So the next event is one that we had last year, and that I know that you ran as well 3 years ago, and that is Dramatic Interpretation Character Study. So just for clarification, again, as the name implies, this simply means a performance of a singular character for dramatic interpretation.
Yes, it does.
Okay, good. So this could be a monologue or a splicing of dialogue, but it has to be presented by one character.
Absolutely.
Okay, and no other characters are portrayed in this performance.
Yes, sir.
Okay, only one voice.
Correct.
Okay, I mean, even if the piece has the performer playing multiple roles, they stick to a singular character in one voice.
Correct again.
All right, good. That's great. Thanks for explaining that for us. I really
I'm glad I could go into some really rich detail with that one.
I appreciate that. That was good. It was really good. Yep. All right, and let's see. How about what do you want to address next? You want to take?
Let's talk about ADS, or after dinner speaking.
Okay. All right. Very good. Now this is one we've been running for the past few years, right? Why don't you tell us a little bit about that one?
Yep. So ADS, or after dinner speaking. After dinner speaking is original speech that utilizes humor to either inform, persuade, or entertain an audience on a given topic.
Any given topic, very good. And even though it's called after dinner speaking, this doesn't necessarily occur like right after dinner.
Nope, technically it could occur before or after any meal. So you can be full or you can be hungry when you're watching it.
Nice, I can watch it either way. I mean, it could technically be after breakfast, lunch, or dinner.
Yep.
Speaking.
Midday snack, tea time, whatever.
All right, sounds good. Either way, I can be full or empty stomach, doesn't matter. Good. Before we go on to the next one, I want to talk about, or going into the next one, I want to talk about the event that we brought in for the first time last year, which was impromptu movie quotes. That's something that you're bringing back this year. Can you tell us a little bit about this event and how you've adapted it this year?
Absolutely. You are correct. Last year was the first time we ran an impromptu event, impromptu movie quote, and we're going to kind of continue on with that. The name might be a little misleading, though, because students will actually have to interpret quotes from a specific collection of movies this year. And this year's specific collection are full-length feature Star Wars movies. Oh, cool. The Star Wars movies that are within the Star Wars franchise, no additional stories. So Rogue One and a solo story will not be part of this. So any of the 8, starting from the first one, which is The Phantom Menace, all the way through A New Hope, and finally The Last Jedi. So any of those 8.
Oh, okay. That's great. You said that Phantom Menace was the first one, though I kind of think New Hope is, but different
conversation.
Good. So can you tell us anything else for this year different might be?
I like the theming, yeah.
Thank
So
you.
yes, along with a specific topic, the event will run very similar to last year. So competitors will receive a series of 3 different quotes, and only one of them they will choose to address. The speeches should address the quote intellectually and evaluate its meaning within the context of the film while analyzing and evaluating maybe its larger significance.
Okay.
Because we anticipate a large amount of competitors, the event will be capped at 3 entries per school, just like it was last year.
Okay, very good. And is there anything else you want to add about the way that you're going to approach it this year? I know that there were some changes to impromptu throughout the season. Are those going to apply up at Mackinac?
They will. We're going to
Okay.
continue to evolve. So for those students who qualify for the breakout rounds, which would be semis or finals, they will have the option to speak on a visual cue.
Oh.
So the visual cues will be an image or object from one of the movies,
Okay.
and that will be joined alongside 2 quotes. So the students don't have to choose the visual cue, but
Okay.
they will have that option, but they'll have to get to the breakout rounds to have that option.
Intriguing. I think that that's very fun, and thank you very much for the clarification. And I feel compelled that I have to say, may the force be with you.
May the force be with you, Chris.
Thank you, Charlie. That's definitely a unique event, and one of the other ones that we're going to be running this year that we have seen in years past is duo poetry. I know that that's something that is going to be very well liked by everyone. The name obviously is pretty straightforward. Is it misleading, or is it what it suggests?
It is what it suggests. It's a combination of the concept of poetry and duo interpretation. So students will put together a duo as a pair with scripts from the genre of poetry.
Interesting. It's, I guess, just not a clever name then.
Yeah, a couple of things to note: that the performance should be equally distributed between the 2, and creativity and that collaboration are really encouraged.
All right, very good. That brings us to a category that I know is exceptionally popular every single year, and that is mini multiple. Now, this follows normal rules for mini multiple from years past, correct?
Yes, it
Okay.
does. So as the name suggests, it's really the category of multiple, only miniaturized. So there are 3 to 5 participants per group.
Okay.
All literature and content needs to be appropriate. All MIFA rules for multiple apply, I think with the only exception being that the time period is just going to be miniaturized.
Okay, very good. We've had theming in the years past. I mean, is there anything else that you want to add to that, or that we should keep in mind?
So no larger theming, no limits with that, but
Good.
all interpretations should be G-rated. So source material could be from a PG, PG-13, or R content area. Those are all fair game, but the interpretations must be G-rated. Let me say that again. The interpretations must be G-rated.
Okay, very good. So, like, I could take, the holiday classic Die Hard and perform that as long as I'm performing it in a G-rated fashion.
Absolutely. And the beauty of multiple is you'd have 2 to 4 other people to really help you kind of bring that together.
All right, very good. Well, I mean, that's great. Is there anything else?
No, I appreciate the addition of the holiday classic, though, Die Hard.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's close to the holiday season as we film this, so I'm just kind of thinking
Yeah.
of those traditional holiday
And
films.
it is one of the best.
Arguably. There is one other thing that we will be offering. This is not part of the individual event section of the tournament, but it is something that we offer every year, and that is Poetry Slam. Why don't you clarify a little bit about that for any aspiring poets who might be out there?
Sure. Poetry Slam allows students to perform original material, and for any students who are interested in that, it will be a competition where students write and deliver original poetry with 5 judges evaluating them on a scale of 1 to 10.
Okay.
The poems must be no longer than 3 minutes, and students can't use props or stools or music, and all of the material delivered and all of the physical actions must be appropriate.
Okay, good, because anybody could be in the theater watching this at any time.
Anyone from our community, and anyone who just happens to be at the Grand Hotel as a guest.
Okay, very good. Well, thank you, Charlie, for coming in and clarifying those events for us. I'm sure this is going to be another great year, just like last year was, and I look forward to the tournament in May.
Yeah, thank you, Chris. I look forward to having everyone up, seeing everyone on the island, and have a good competitive season.
All right, very good. Thank you very much.